Hi and welcome back. What we're going to chat about next is how your personal brand fits into all of this why business. One of the questions we constantly get asked is, do I really have to have a brand as well as my business? Isn't it enough to just have a business Facebook page or a business LinkedIn page? And our answer is always, you really need both.
Yes. With social media, I think it's so important to have your personal brand. When you go for an interview these days, it's not only about your CV. People go and look at your Facebook, they look at your LinkedIn, and if you come to an interview with a suit and you tell people how good you are and what you do over weekends, and they go to Facebook and that's not the same thing they see. I think it's not authentic anymore. I think the trust is gone because the people say that you lied. So your personal brand is really important, and how you manage it is actually more important. You need to manage your personal brand. You can't give it to somebody else to manage. I don't know if you want to talk about or add something to that.
Yeah, I think that's really important. So particularly if you're a solo entrepreneur, the reality is what people are really buying is you.
Yeah.
And your ability to make a product or a service work. A lot of people will come back and say, oh, but Facebook is sort of for my friends and family. The reality is social media is out there, and whether or not you're on social media, it still says something about your branding. So it's something that you do need to actively manage. And I think whatever you post on social media, from a business point of view, whether it's your personal page or your business page, it really needs to be strategic, and it needs to communicate who you are as a person. And I think once you really understand your why, your personal why,
Yes,
and your business why are somehow connected. And I think we were chatting a little bit about this during the break. I don't think you can really deep down separate your values from your why. I think there's a very close connection, and I think if there is a disjoint or a disconnect, it automatically makes you feel inauthentic.
100%.
Well, authenticity is really, really important when it comes to branding.
Yeah, because again, people do business with people. And once you find that you connect with a person, I think you feel related. I think you feel part of something. Again, if like Apple, I mean, it's a family. Most people, once you have Apple, you will not go somewhere else. So if you're authentic, you got your why, and you live it out, and people can see what you say is what you do, and people do business with you, you will have customers for life. It's really hard to build a brand. It's really hard to get clients, and it can take 5 seconds to break everything down that you build up. So it's really important to look after your brand.
And one of the biggest ways to do that in our current climate is to manage your social media. Something that you said a moment ago is sort of people buying from people, and I think one of the things you're saying there is you have to establish a trust.
Yes.
You have to establish some kind of connection, and often finding that common ground or common belief is what earns that trust. So if you're very clear on your why, and if that message comes across, if that resonates with somebody else's why and beliefs, you're going to find a connection there. It may not be something that's conscious, you're conscious about, but you'll feel a deep sense of connection.
I agree, and I think one of the best examples that happened recently is with the banks. We all believed, you go to a bank and they will give you good advice with your money, and now we see that they all lie to us. And now when I look ads on the TV at the moment, I actually don't believe them. So they have demolished their brand, their values, because whatever they tell me their values are, I don't believe. So I think that's a very good example of managing your brand.
And being authentic.
And being authentic. Because even though they look authentic on TV, to me, it's really difficult to believe them at the moment.
One of the interesting things that comes through in this book is the role of neurobiology. So we spend a lot of our time as coaches kind of in the thinking realm, with our thinking brain, but there's also a part of our brain called the limbic system, which is the part of the brain that regulates a lot of important survival functions, and it cannot express itself in language. It's very much about feelings. And I think the interesting thing for me is that often that trust is a feeling. You know that you've maybe gone to a doctor who's a very good doctor, but you just kind of don't feel like you connect or you gel, and you might seek out, try one or two other doctors, and then you just find someone that you connect with. It's not a case that they may be a better doctor or better qualified. It's just that there's something that connects you and you feel at ease. I think that's very much what we're talking about when we're talking about sort of having similar values and whys and connecting at a level that you might try and rationalise in language, but really it's just a gut feeling. And to go back to our over-exhausted example, but you know, I sort of feel like whatever Apple's launching next, I know I'm going to like it. It actually doesn't matter what it is. I've got a gut feeling because I'm a fan, I'll use the word fan, and I believe in their brand and I believe in their purpose. So whatever it is, it's going to advance, challenging the status quo.
But because they have their why and everybody knows their why, just look at how easy I think it is for them to make money. Okay, they don't overcomplicate things. They share their views, they share their why, and people connect with it and people buy. So why is it that we as small entrepreneurs don't know our why? If it works for big companies, why shouldn't it work for us?
I think that firstly, knowing your why is a process that you need to go through, and I think it's a challenging process. It's not something obvious. I think also, as we discovered on our journey, there are a lot of beliefs that you don't even realise you have, that have often come from childhood experiences or being exposed to a particular way of thinking that might actually not allow you to believe that you're entitled to pursue that why. So discovering your why can not only be a challenging process, but I think it also necessarily involves you making yourself vulnerable.
Or scared of failure.
Yeah, it's sometimes easier to put on a mask and do what's safe and what other people expect of you. It's a bit like what we were saying earlier about people accepting their lives and accepting their jobs sometimes as well, just because they haven't thought of an alternative that might be possible. So I think one of the reasons that companies and people don't know their why is because perhaps no one's ever challenged them to do that. And I think that's one of the things we're trying to achieve through our shows is to really challenge people about their beliefs and about what they can achieve, because perhaps no one has done that for them before.
But also there's always risk in business, and sometimes the bigger the risk, the bigger the result. And as we said before, if you take risk away, you take away opportunity. So by not being scared to fail and set yourself out there and challenge yourself, you will be surprised the results you get. You will surprise the personal growth that you experience. And when you look back after a year and say, wow, is that the same person? I had a gut feeling and my gut feeling was right. We need to start trusting our gut as well, and stop playing it safe. I think the days of playing safe is gone.
And I think what you're really saying is that gut feeling we speak about, sort of that limbic system, those connections we don't always understand, but that seems to be quite closely linked to your why in some ways.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you look at Elon Musk, I mean, they take huge risk. I mean, one decision he can lose all his money. I mean, he's worth how many $1 billion? But they're not afraid to take risk. if nobody wants to take risk, we will just plateau like this. It's the people that take risk that gives us opportunities and let us grow as well in our businesses because they've taken risk. But we need to start taking risk.
Yeah, and risk don't look like Elon Musk.
Oh, no.
I think everybody's version of risk is a little different. But I guess the challenge we're throwing out there at the end of the show really is to say to people, spend some time thinking about your why. Do you really know what drives and motivates you and what your mission is in life? All right. We'd love to hear if any of you have read this book. Please let us know your thoughts and comments. And if there are any other great books out there that you think we should read, please also share that. We'd really love to hear from you. Till next time, this is Kathleen and Gerhard saying see you soon.
If you want to contact us, go to Vital Science Consulting Facebook page, like us, comment, share, and we'll get back to you. Thank you.